Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, we got our first home win of the season. We're back, I think, and Joel Embiid is back. So I think the Sixers are back, and the run starts now, guys. The run starts tonight against the New York Knicks in the NBA Cup, first game of the NBA Cup tournament. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling after that Sunday night victory?
I'm feeling good, man, and always feeling good after a win. Right now, you take them however we can get them. So excited to come together after a victory.
As excited as I am for the win, I think I would have felt so much worse if he lost that game. Like, that would have been a rough game to lose after going to overtime. Eric, let me ask you, what did you think about that reach? Was that a foul? Or do you think that was clean? The one at the end of the game.
I mean, the issue here is the rules and the clarification on how they view things now with video is different. So it's like blocking a shot and then hitting somebody's hand. Well, you blocked the shot first, so technically it's incidental contact. So whereas in the past, that would have been, if you fouled him, it was a foul, regardless. But the way they do it now, it's a little different. Like, that's why, when they review stuff, we don't know. Like, it's different. Like, what they're saying is totally different with these new rules. So did he hit the ball first? Yeah. But do I still think it was a foul? Yes. But that's just the way the change is. Like, I thought it was a clear foul, but I don't know. I don't. The NBA has changed rules, and since I've been in there, and they've changed the travel, they've changed a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I guess I have to learn this new ruling and how they see things, and kind of help myself learn more.
Yeah, because in anything, college, high school, rec leagues, anything, house leagues that have a ref, that's called a foul, I'd say 9 times out of 10. If you're reaching in, and even if you tap the ball out, but in order to tap the ball out, you have to bear hug the guy in the process of doing that. That's a
yeah. I mean, some guys in the NBA their arms are so long they can't tap the ball without contact.
Sure.
Or with a very minimal contact. So once you kind of tap the ball, if you get the ball clean, then it's considered, if they consider it pretty much there a loose ball, it's some form of contact that can take place if it's considered a loose ball. So that's why I'm saying, like, their clarification on how they're looking at it and how they're viewing it has changed. Whereas before, even if you got it clean, if you had any form of contact, it was always a foul. Yeah. And that's where I'm saying that the rule change on how they view it. I don't think the rule change as far as foul has changed as much as how they view it once, like I said, once if they call it foul and they look and you see any form of contact, okay, foul. Now it's like, okay, well, he hit the ball away. Now it's a loose ball. You can have incidental contact if both people are going for the ball, then whatever from there. So their clarification on it has changed. So that's different. That could be very crucial going into these playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you have to think in order to tap the ball. Because to me, the difference between that and the whole loose ball theory is that like it's the same motion, right? If you're going for a loose ball, I feel like it has to be a separate like the tap out is the same as the contact. Like tapping out, he's moving in on him and he collides with him to get the tap out, right? That's what's so weird to me. It's like it's different than a guy seeing a loose ball and hitting a
yes
guy.
And no. I would say yes and no, because it's because the offensive player isn't technically standing still. So if the offensive player is also moving forward, then it's not just that's where the kind of them deciding whether it's a loose ball and them both going movement for the ball. It's different if the offensive player is just standing still and you make that move and he never makes a move. So that's why I'm saying yes and no, because both of them can be, if both of them are moving this and they consider it a loose ball, then both are technically moving. Even though they're, it's still part of the movement in the deflection. So it's not necessarily how I would do it, but I'm starting to learn how they're viewing it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, how they're viewing it.
When you slow it down like that, yeah.
Yeah, I even texted a referee friend of mine who said the same. Agree with the officials, the exact same wording on all his on what he said. He said clean strip. Once the ball is deflected, everything else is marginal, incidental, unless it's like a takedown. And
that's what I'm saying. That's the same. That's what I'm saying. That's how they're viewing it now.
Yeah.
So they're before, and that's what I'm saying. In the past, like we gotta pretty much let the pass go because that's no more.
Gone.
In the past, if there was any form of contact, it was always a foul. It was always what the referee called on the court. They no longer do. They don't no longer do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, they still call. They're just taking them back now.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's just calls. That's what I'm saying. You make the call, but before it was always if they call foul, it would have always been foul.
Yeah.
Just gotta strip what you already know about the NBA, Tej. Just get it out of your head, buddy. Those days are gone.
Well, the thing is, that was a crucial play at the end of the game. That's why he reviewed it. But that was like in the second quarter with 5 minutes left. I don't think he probably would have reviewed that. He probably just would have let that go and think it's out to reach. You reached.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. But it was a huge play, so it was a great challenge.
Yeah. Nonetheless, Sixers still come away with the win, even with that questionable call there. So we'll begin with our first topic tonight, going back to that game. So Sixers finally got the win, first win at home this season against the Charlotte Hornets. This win was in large part from the production of Jared McCain's 27 points and Guerschon Yabusele's 20 points. The biggest move of the night was Yabusele starting the second half in place of Andre Drummond. So my question to you guys is, as the whole Sixers nation is all excited about McCain and Yabusele, has the emergence of McCain and Yabusele changed your outlook on how the team will look when the big three are back and healthy? For example, some people are calling for Yabusele to be the starting four and McCain getting more minutes, taking some of Kyle Lowry's minutes. How do you guys see things changing since Sunday's victory?
Well, before the game, I said that, before the Laker game, I said that McCain needed his minutes need to increase. Because especially with Maxey out, you have to see what he can give you so you'll know who he is or who he can be. And I did say you need to find him get him from somewhere. I mean, I think you can. I said you need to cap off Kyle's minutes, cap off or don't play Eric Gordon. And then if they're not playing Reggie Jackson, they're playing Downton. Then there you go with the ball handler. Like they need more of a so if there's not going to be Reggie Jackson, then it's Downton. So that's them. He's going to get those minutes. So, but McCain has to play. He's shown enough for you. He's shown enough for you to now find consistent minutes for him. Will he always have those games? No, probably not. Will he have those games here and there? Yes, he will. It's just going to be harder, obviously, when Maxey and Joel come back. But they're also going to have to find a way to play him with Maxey.
Yeah,
I know that's kind of tough defensively at the guard spot, but you have to at least try it. You have to at least try it. So I think that from that standpoint, I've been on board with giving him more minutes and giving him looks. Even right now, I would probably say out of all the ones and twos, he probably should be 30 minutes right now, and or maybe right where Kyle is. Like I do not think that Kyle should play many more minutes than him. As far as Yabusele, I would say that game was more of a strategic move, meaning Charlotte's bigs are out. They were playing small, so you can easily make that move. Do I think you can do that every game? No. I don't think you could have did that against the Lakers with AD. Like, I just don't think you could do that. I don't think you can do that against Denver, obviously. I don't think you can do that against Cleveland, certain teams where you can play small like that. So I think with him, do I think he need to start more? I don't know. I mean, I don't know when, because I really don't know how we're going to look when Joel comes back. I haven't seen him with Joel. So maybe you can start him at the 4 when Joel doesn't play, or, but I don't know. I don't know if we can do that with him yet. I'm still not sure and certain on that, but I am certain that he needs to get consistent minutes and try to find more minutes for him. He's earned that and developed that right. So, but those two guys are going to be, I believe they're consistent rotation players, but I do believe that their minutes will be a little yo-yo for a minute. I don't see them playing a consistent 25, 30 minutes every game. I think it'll be how the game is going, who the matchup are, who we're playing, the guys on the court. So I think things will kind of develop themselves once we get a consistent roster going forward. But it's kind of hard for guys to really know and be firm on what your role is going to be and how it's going to look until we have our full unit.
Yeah, you
absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, like, they played great and everything, but we still beat a Charlotte team that was just as depleted as us.
Yeah.
I mean, even though they didn't have their top player out, but they're just as depleted, and we beat them by 2 points in overtime at home. So,
yeah,
on the game that could have easily went the other way.
No parades just yet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it matters. I think I actually think there's one silver lining to the disastrous start to the season, that we got a nice glimpse of some of the players that we might not have been able to see if everyone started out the year healthy for us, right? That was the one good thing. While you're having these issues, get a good look, see at some of these guys, right? I think Yabusele deserves minutes no matter what at this point. I think he was a steal at his price. I think he could play some small ball 5 against the right team. He could play some 4 when Embiid comes back. He can push George to play a little more 3. I think McCain doesn't look like a rookie at all. Sometimes you look at him and you're like, man, he looks like a vet. Like he's the way he tricks vets on the court. He looks poised. He looks controlled. It looks like the game's just kind of already slower for him at times, like slower than what you usually see from rookie guards who have the ball in their hands as much as him. I mean, he had the ball, offense was running through him towards the end of that overtime and even some of that fourth quarter. Like he had control of the offense at some points. I think his minutes should stay high teens at worst, low 20s, I think, at this point. I think there will be games where he plays more like a rookie, and they'll probably go to a vet like Lowry for those. And then I think there are games where he's just going to look too good to take off the court. I think he might even look even better with Embiid, too. I think he'll fit well with Embiid. And I think if he gets better defensively, not that he's played horrible, because he looked pretty good against Ball at certain times, especially down the end of that game. But if he plays better defensively, with his shot, it's tough to keep him off the court, man. He's a stud. I think because of all this, it's a good problem to have for Nurse. I just think it'll take them a little longer to nail down the proper rotations because of the amount of options we have. So we're going to start that clock all over again when MB gets in there to figure out who plays with who, when, where, all that stuff. They're already having issues with it, but the more you keep adding these talented players, it's going to get harder.
So a lot of Sixers fans were saying that Jared McCain reminded them of Devin Booker online. If you look at during the game, everyone was saying he kind of has a little bit of Devin Booker in his game, like a shorter version of it. Do you see that comparison, Eric, Teja?
No, I don't. No, I think people kind of confused with them just being the same shade, but yeah, they're not similar. No, I don't see that.
I see more of a Brogdon and like a better shooting, worse defensive TJ McConnell. Very crafty. Very crafty.
I mean, it's kind of early. I think he is a guy that can be sort of in the Jordan Clarkson mode. I think I think he'll be in that mode. Devin Booker, I mean, he's not. He's not Devin Booker.
He's gonna have to
not say he can't be that. I'm just saying to me they don't play the same. I would say he plays more like Donovan Mitchell than Devin Booker.
Yeah, I think he's closer to Mitchell than he is Booker. Yeah.
Devin Booker's more of a pull-up, mid-range shooter that'll shoot threes, but more catch and shoot threes. He's more of that. I don't see him being like that. I think that's different style.
He's very crafty around the rim, McCain. I'm really impressed by that. I knew he could shoot. And I saw his highlights in college, but I didn't think he'd be able to do that in the NBA so soon. It was just little quick scoop shots and all that stuff. Like he's really crafty around the rim.
I mean, well, who's going to block the shot? Who in the NBA is going to block the shot?
If he's got a larger defender on him, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, there's no shot blockers. There's nobody blocking shots. They are creative at the rim nowadays. Just look at me. Maxey goes to the rim like guys go to the rim and create a lot. Smaller guys, because there's no rim presence. There's no rim presence around the league.
Guys
Very
can, but
few teams have a guy that's really trying to block shots.
But he's not like Maxey does it short.
I'm saying these guys practice these crafty shots around the rim, and they can take them and they can make them and I'm just saying they're making them because they practice them and they're good at it. But I'm saying the reason why you think that some guys are better than you probably thought is because there's no rim presence as far as defending the rim. That's lacking in the league right now.
That is true. But Maxey is voted top 3 fastest players in the league. McCain's not a burner, is what I'm saying. Like he doesn't look like someone who can burn someone around the corner and get to the rim.
But he's also probably faster than you think, though.
And he's quick too. He's quick.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He's probably faster than you think he is.
Yeah.
So I don't look at him and think that he's not a fast guy. He's just not Maxey fast, but I don't think he's.
Yes.
I think he's above average in speed.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he's slow by any means. And he's quick and he has great ball control.
Yeah, I think some of the NBA draft experts, they were just kind of saying that his speed was one of his negatives going into that draft, is his speed, not having that. For a guy his size, he should be faster than that. And that was kind of something the NBA draft experts were kind of honing in on. But,
Well, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like the speed as far as to get to your shot, and the speed as far as full court speed or getting by somebody, those are different speeds. I mean, it's some of the guys, slowest guys in the league, can get by people, but that don't mean they're going to be explosive.
Right.
So it's different kinds of speeds you can judge.
And changing your speed too, which is an art form.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we mentioned it tonight. Joel Embiid will be making his debut against the New York Knicks for the first game of the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. I don't know what kind of minutes restrictions you'll have. I haven't read anything about any minutes restrictions, although how strict the Sixers were on Sunday night with Paul George. Embiid might have one based on how that whole thing went down on Sunday night. But what do you guys expect to see from Embiid tonight in his first game of the 2024-2025 NBA season?
Go ahead, Teja.
I was trying to see if he had a minutes restriction. Embiid minutes. Let me see. Marinate.
Yeah, Ramona Shelburne said yesterday that he might have one, but she didn't know. I mean, nothing's been reported about that.
His over-under is 25.5. So, yeah. 25 points, by the way, not minutes. Points. Sorry. I expect a minutes restriction. You don't hold off playing someone, unleashing someone all this time, and then all of a sudden let him. Although we said this last week or 2 weeks ago, if you're going to hold someone out a while, like when they come back, why don't they just come back like full throttle? Like you ramped them up, and then you're going to have them also on a minute restriction. That's just kind of strange to me, at least. But I think if there's an OT type game, the way that we had one with George, I don't know, man. That's going to be hard to keep him off the floor. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think it'll take Marcus Hayes to stop Embiid from getting on the floor in that overtime game. Okay, so I expect him to be rusty. I expect him to hit the ground like 3-4 times. So pretty much being himself. But back to Embiid's glory days. I just don't want him to be pressing too hard to the point where he thinks he wants to make up for like lost time, because like he does do that. He gets so amped for his return that he's just like, well, man, like settle down, calm down. Like it's still a long season. You know, it's a back-to-back, but you're probably not going to play it, so just chill out. And I do expect there to be a period of readjustment for everyone else around him too, because again, we've had this revolving door of the big three. Like one guy in, another guy come in, one guy out. Now Embiid in, Maxey out. So it's just like it's tough, but he will have, I think, probably some turnovers. I expect to see that. I expect to see them lost a little bit on offense sometimes because getting readjusted. But what I read recently with the rate that Cat's giving up as far as shooting percentage in the paint, he should also have some feasting. So even with a minutes restriction, I see why they gave him the 25.5 points tonight. But last two things on him, I'd say I do think he'll be rusty, but if there's a guy that should be used to being rusty, right, it should be Embiid. Embiid has played a decent percentage of his career shaking off rust. Like a lot of his time on the court has been shaking off rust. So if there's someone who can still look really good while shaking off rust, it's Embiid. And then as much as I love having him back, it's just another period of readjustment for us that we have to get ready to do it all over again when Maxey comes back. But it's good to have these guys on the court getting used to each other out there.
Well, I mean, it's good to have him back. Don't know what to expect. I really don't. So it's for me, it's just a wait and see. Do I believe he'll be on the minute restriction? I would imagine so. I would imagine, the fact that he's been held out so long, I would imagine he'll be on some form of a minute restriction. And part of your ramp up is probably part of your ramp up in minutes whenever you start back playing. So I'm not sure what that's going to be. If he can't play 30 minutes, I'll be very surprised if he can't do that. And I think we'll know right away. I think we'll know right away how this is going to be. But can't say I'm overly confident, but I'm happy to see him back, and hopefully we can build something moving forward, and then build some kind of consistency and trying to get ready for the end of the postseason and try to move up the conference ladder right now. But I don't know. Like, I really don't know how to judge it. I think it's really and truly a wait and see, and this is partly because of how it's been handled. It didn't really give us any form of confidence that this was going to be a forgotten issue once he came back. Like, we don't know. Like, we don't know if he's sort of playing because just to get the suspension over. I had somebody tell me that he had to play because they started the suspension already, so he has to play. But is he playing because he's really ready, or is he playing because he has to with that suspension to get some minutes in? Hopefully he's ready and he'll be in there, and because it'll be interesting. I mean, we talk about not playing back-to-backs, and the first game he plays is the first game of a back-to-back.
Right. Yeah. Against two elite teams.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Both at home against, you know what I'm saying, against the top top three teams in the East or whatever. They're both at home, but it's still a back-to-back. So I thought about that too, how that's going to be handled. Do you have him playing both and say, okay, you can play both, but you can play both at this level. Once you get to this minute restriction, then this is what it is.
Yeah.
And if you got him at a minute restriction, do you if you say he's capped at 30, then you make sure that 30 includes the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. Can't really guess. I can talk about what we know is fact and what we see happen, but we'll see.
It'll be interesting to compare his play as far as how he looks in the court to Olympic play and then playoffs, because he was playing injured in the playoffs, and then in Olympics a lot of people thought he was playing injured, so they're not confirmed, but
Eric, were you surprised how strict they were to adhere?
Oh, he was injured in the Olympics. It was the same injury as the playoffs.
Yeah.
So say it again.
Were you surprised with how strict they were to adhere to the minutes restriction with Paul George on Sunday, even though they went to overtime? Were you surprised how strict they were with that?
No. I think that early in the season, you're more inclined to stick to it, especially with him just coming back. I think you can be more starting to whatever you're trying to do. There may be games where you be like, okay, let's win the game, but it doesn't surprise me that they're doing that early on, especially with him just returning to the lineup. So that doesn't surprise me.
So if Joel is basically playing because of the suspension, is the suspension the best thing to happen to us to get him back on the court?
Look, man, I have people to send me the craziest messages, man. Somebody was like, It was unfortunate. It was funny, but it was unfortunate. It was like, if you want to suspend Joel, have him play 3 straight games.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's just interesting that how it's done. But do I believe that? I'm just saying somebody kind of put that in my head. It was, I just know that he has to play because they told the league when the suspension should start.
Yeah.
So if you tell them the suspension started, then he doesn't play, then they like, well, what are we talking about here? Then you basically, the suspension hasn't started yet.
Yeah. It starts when you declare him like ready to play.
I know he has to play. Yes. Yeah. You have to declare him ready to play, which then they say, okay, the suspension starts now. So basically you're saying he could have played when the suspension started.
Yeah.
So if you kind of knew that he was going to play this game, you say, well, okay, he's ready to go. So then that 3 game can be over with, and he can technically play in the game that he was going to play first anyway. But I'm saying, being that they suspended him, he has to play.
The NBA should have been like,
how much, but I knew he had to play. Once they said the suspension started, I knew he was going to play whenever he was eligible to play.
The NBA should have been like, psych, no suspension. So we'll see you tonight. You gonna play tonight? I'll see you at 7.
That's funny.
I mean, he could have had a setback on Sunday during his ramp up. I mean, anything could have happened.
During his ramp up. Steep ramp.
It's a steep ramp. All right. So we have game picks to get after. So very interesting. So 76ers host the Knicks tonight, as we said. So last night, 76ers were a 1-point favorite, but now the line has changed. Now the 76ers are a 3-point underdog at home. I think all the public, 70% of the public is back in the Knicks tonight, which I think there was a big sharp change in the spread of this game. But who do you guys have in Joel Embiid's debut tonight on TNT at 7:30 against the New York Knicks?
I think we get the Knicks. A little payback, and we cover because we win.
Yeah. Now we start out as 1-point favorites, and now we're underdogs. 68% of 70% of money, 70% of bets. Is that right? About around there.
Yeah, 72% of the spread was on the Knicks. 69% of the money lines on the Knicks.
I mean, if you're Vegas and you want people to take the Knicks because you think Philly's going to actually win, you make Philly the favorite, and then you have 70% of people put their money in there, right? So, right when you told me the spread last night, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of weird." I didn't expect us to be, favorites. The opposite, if you want people to bet heavily on the Sixers, right? You go +2 or 3 at home with Embiid returning. You get a lot of people putting money on that too, right? So it all to really see how they want to go about it. Based on all that, just purely off that, I take Philly. I worry about his minute restriction if he has one. We don't even know that yet. And like if it's a close game, we'll need him for as much as possible, right? So if it's a close game and we need him all those minutes and he's only there for 25, that's going to be tough. And we'll definitely need Drummond to show up. Like against Cat, I don't know if Yabusele is the perfect guy for that, right? So we need Drummond in there for that.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think we win tonight. I think Embiid has Marcus Hayes in his mind as he goes out there and dominates. I think we might see some. I think we might see a big game from him. To be quite honest with you. That Marcus Hayes is going to give that extra bulletin board material that he needs. Yeah. That bulletin board, baby.
Like that water boy scene when he sees everybody with that face on the team.
Gatorade.
Cat's going to have a Marcus Hayes face on.
Yeah. And so the next matchup is tomorrow night. We have back-to-back against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. In the Eric Snow Classic, Sixers will face off the Cavaliers tomorrow night. First back-to-back of the season for our guys. Possibly no Embiid since he doesn't play. He says he might not be playing back-to-backs this year. Who do you guys have in this one?
Well, is Paul not playing back-to-backs too, right?
Ooh,
that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Just asking.
I don't know.
This one's kind of hard because we don't know if they're going to play. I'll say, does Cleveland play today? Oh no. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I was thinking that we could end their winning streak, but that's going to be tough on the back-to-back. We don't know if guys are playing and they don't play, so they'll just be sitting in Philly waiting. Yeah, I don't see us winning that one.
Yeah. I don't think Embiid plays back-to-back. You're not going to ramp up, take all this time, and then play him in his first back-to-back. That just wouldn't make sense. If they did, great. I'd be like, I would be really surprised and shocked if they played him back-to-back. George, maybe. I guess if you're adhering to a minute restriction, maybe you can. I don't know. I think we lose against the Cavs. They're rolling right now. Yeah. Another game we're going to need Drummond because, they're a big team. They got Mobley and Allen out there. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the back-to-back situation looks like. So tonight's going to be a huge start to that to see how the guys look. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We'll see you guys Friday as we preview another road trip coming up for the Sixers where we go to Florida. We go ahead down south to Orlando and Miami. And then I think they come back to Memphis and they're back to Philly. But yeah, so we'll see you guys Friday. We hope everybody enjoys the show and hope everyone enjoys Joel Embiid's return to the court tonight.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Take it easy, fellas.
Thank you. All right, man. Take it easy.
Later on, guys.